8 incredible hidden encounters revealed, touching stories of haunted doors, shadow figures and Jinn. The Walden Diner stood proud, a beacon of warmth and memories nestled in the heart of a small Midwestern town. The smell of freshly brewed coffee and sizzling bacon wafted through its doors, wrapping around customers like a hug. Joe Walden, a gruff but gentle 70-year-old Vietnam veteran, moved through the kitchen with a rhythm that spoke of love, the kind that poured into every pie crust and pancake stack. The diner wasn't just a business, it was a lifeline. It was laughter over burgers, tears over coffee, and a history that cemented the community together. Yet, as the sun set on another day, Joe felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down. His daughter, Sarah, just 22, was on the precipice of a life-altering choice. Art school called to her like a siren, visions of vibrant city skylines swirling in her mind, igniting her passion but leaving a longing ache for everything she would leave behind. The diner, with its chipped counters and vintage booths, held memories too sacred to underestimate. Could she abandon this family legacy? Strange happenings began unraveling the fabric of their lives. Doors creaked open at odd hours, an unexplained chill swept through the diner, and ghostly shadows flickered just out of sight. Customers began whispering about their own eerie encounters, loved ones lost and connections rekindled through fleeting moments in the diner. With each anecdote shared, the air crackled with nostalgia. Every story resurrected family truths buried beneath layers of time and heartache. As Sarah hesitated between brushes and palettes, she began to feel those soft whispers in the air, shadows that seemed to beckon her closer, urging her to acknowledge the deeper connection she had with the diner. Late at night, alone in her thoughts, she wondered if she could capture its spirit, its heartbeat, in her art. Could she transform this family treasure into something everlasting, something visible? Before she could wrestle with her choice, an unexpected storm rolled into town, thunder rumbling like an old friend's voice. The storm brought everyone together, young children, the elderly men Joe once served with, and families sharing stories as the diner's shelter became their refuge. They laughed and held hands through the chaos, and in that shared vulnerability, Sarah discovered a spark of inspiration. Amidst the clatter of dishes and the vibrant chatter, she envisioned a mural that embodied everything: the love, the loss, the relentless pursuit of dreams. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As hope washed over them, melding the diner with their unity, a haunting figure emerged from the shadows. It wasn't fear that seized Sarah, it was the weight of expectation. This figure, a ghost from the diner's days long past, blurred the line between dreams and reality. Just when it seemed like everything could be unified under one canvas, the tug-of-war between aspirations and family traditions reached a boiling point. Now, with the town holding its breath, Joe clinging to what he cherished, and Sarah wrestling with what defined her, could they weather this storm together? And just what unseen forces were still lurking, waiting to test the fragile bond of the Walden family? The diner wasn't finished yet, it still had secrets to unfold. The storm raged outside, heavy rain drumming against the diner's windows. Inside, the din of voices blended with the clinking of glass, and the aroma of comfort food filled the air. Joe glanced around, heart warmed by the sight of familiar faces gathered in the diner, yet a flicker of uncertainty gnawed at him. Memories of laughter echoed, threads woven into the fabric of their lives, yet now, an unfamiliar shadow loomed over his heart. As he wiped down the counter, an unusual chill swept through the room. It wasn't just the cold air from the storm. It felt different. More alive. Like something was lingering, watching, waiting. Sarah stood off to the side, studying the crowd. Each face told a story, and amidst the symphony of clattering dishes and laughter, she still felt alone. Her vision of the mural flickered in her mind, the colors swirling and mixing, each stroke representing a piece of her father's legacy and her own hopes. But the ghostly figure had left her shaken, What did it want from her? Sarah? Joe's voice broke through her thoughts. He walked over, his brow furrowed with concern. You okay, kiddo? Yeah, Dad, I'm fine, she lied, forcing a smile. But she wasn't fine. Not when the ghost loomed in the back of her mind, whispering secrets she couldn't understand. As thunder rumbled again, the ghostly figure emerged more distinctly in her thoughts. She felt an urge to confront it, to understand what it wanted from her, but wasn't sure she was ready for the answer. What if it was a warning? Or perhaps a reminder of all she might lose? Suddenly, the door swung open with a creak, bringing a gust of wind that swept through the diner. Everyone turned, startled. Sarah squinted through the rain and saw an elderly woman, soaked to the bone, step inside. Her eyes were an intense shade of green, almost glowing as she scanned the diner. The chatter stilled, all eyes on the newcomer. Sorry to interrupt, the woman said, her voice soft yet strong. I've come to share a story, if you'll allow me. Joe stepped forward, gripping the edge of the counter as if it could anchor him against the tide of uncertainty. Go ahead, he invited, his curiosity piqued. The woman smiled knowingly. This place has seen much laughter, sorrow, and even those who have passed but still linger. A story I bear can help you heal, dear. Her gaze landed on Sarah, and the air felt charged. Sarah looked around, anxious but intrigued. What kind of story? She asked, her heart racing at the thought of connections hidden in the diner's history. A tale of a mural, the woman replied, as everyone leaned closer, some clutching their coffee cups like talismans against the supernatural. One that spoke of love across generations. It saved a family much like yours, who faced the choice stay or go. The wind howled outside as the diner was enveloped in silence, rapt attention hanging on the woman's every word. A flicker of light drew Sarah's eyes back toward the shadows, and she recalled the ghost she had seen earlier. Was there a reason she was here now? As the woman continued, Sarah felt the weight of the stories unraveling her future intertwined with those who had come before. Each beat of her heart felt like a step toward an answer she didn't know she was seeking. The storm outside intensified, and within those cascading moments, she sensed the truth looming closer. Will you listen? The woman asked, locking eyes with Sarah. The choice before you will shape not just your path, but the fate of this diner, and the love that lingers within. Could Sarah really embrace the story destined to intertwine with her own? Or would the weight of tradition hold her back? As their eyes met, the diner seemed to hold its breath, the line between the past and the present shifting like the storm outside. What could this mural do? Would it be her anchor or her escape? Unseen forces stirred, challenging her to choose, and the answers dangled just out of reach. The air crackled with tension as the elderly woman gestured for everyone to gather closer. She placed her hands firmly on the edge of the counter, her knuckles white against the polished surface. Listen carefully, she began, her voice dropping to a whisper that danced like the wind outside. This mural, it holds stories of love, regret, and choices not yet made. Sarah's heart raced. Every eye in the diner was glued to the woman, and she felt as if the entire room was leaning in, hanging on the brink of discovery. Many years ago, this diner was filled with promise. The woman continued, her green eyes shimmering like the rain-soaked grass beyond the windows. Back then, a young couple came here, struggling with a decision that would forever change their lives. They were artists much like you, Sarah. Their dreams were vibrant and filled the walls of this very space. The storm outside roared, rattling the windows, as the patrons shifted closer, breaths held in anticipation of what was to come. But with dreams often comes fear, she added, her gaze piercing into Sarah's soul. Fear that can tear a family apart. One of them wanted to leave, to pursue fame in the city. The other wanted to stay and nurture their roots, right here. The mural became a representation of their love, a reminder of the connections that bind us. Joe shifted nervously, exchanging a glance with Sarah. She felt the heat rising in her chest, the connection pulsing between her and the swirling clouds of the past. A lump formed in her throat as she recalled her own longing for more than just the familiar walls that had kept her safe yet constrained. The mural held their hopes. the woman said softly. But when the choice was made, it never got completed. The love was left hanging, and so were their dreams. Sarah felt a chill creep back in. What happened to them? She couldn't help but ask, her voice a tremor beneath the weight of the story. They lost each other, the woman replied, a sad smile crossing her lips. But the love they had? It lingered in the mural, waiting for someone to finish it. Someone who could understand the depth of both love and loss. Silence fell over the diner like a heavy blanket. Everyone absorbed the emotional weight of the story, the realization hovering that they, too, were part of something more significant than a simple diner. It was a thread in a complicated tapestry of lives intersecting through time. Sarah, the woman said, seeking her gaze once more, the choice before you is not just about you. It's about your father, the diner, and the stories that live in every corner of this room. Will you finish their mural? Will you honor their love and find your own way forward? The words hung in the air, and Sarah's breath caught. The swirling colors of the mural in her mind became more vibrant, rich with possibility like a canvas waiting for brush strokes of life. But would she close the door to her fears or break through to something incredible? As the wind howled louder, shaking the diner walls, a clarity washed over her. Here stood a legacy, hers to claim. But could she bear the weight of it? Questions spun through her like the storm outside. Now, will you listen to the last part? The woman asked, her voice steady and inviting. Because there's one piece of the story you still don't know. As Sarah felt the weight of those final words ripple through her, she knew that the storm was far from over, and neither was her journey. What revelation could break through next? The murmur of curiosity spread through the room like wildfire. Everyone leaned in closer, eyes wide with anticipation. The elderly woman straightened, brushing her hands across her apron as if shaking off the dust of the past. You see, she began again, her tone shifting to one of urgency. The mural wasn't just a project. It was a symbol, a living testament to love's complexity, a canvas that held their dreams and despair. The thunder rumbled outside, announcing a fresh onslaught of rain against the windows. Sarah's heart raced again. An unexplainable energy buzzed between her and the stories lingering in the air. Years later, after they had lost each other, the woman continued, the couple reunited at the diner, older and wiser. The city had taken its toll, and dreams had been painted over with regret. They found themselves standing before their unfinished mural, overwhelmed by the memories it conjured. Sarah could feel her breath hitch in her throat. What if one day, she found herself in a similar situation? What if she faced someone from her past? Would it be a moment of closure or another mischance? The woman met Sarah's gaze, as if sensing her thoughts. They had a choice, you see. To let their fears of what could have been consume them, or to reclaim their story and finish what they started. They put brush to canvas, every stroke a release, every color a memory brought back to life. It was healing, Sarah. They rediscovered not only their love for art but for each other. And that mural, it became a beacon for others searching for hope in their own tangled tales. The diner's light dimmed for just a moment, the flickering from a nearby bulb syncing with the emotional highs in the room. Sarah felt her own longing rise, her dreams intertwined with her father's wishes, mirrored in the stories of the couple from long ago. What if she took that leap? What if she painted without fear? What happened after they finished it? Joe whispered, breaking the tension, eyes wide with curiosity. They found joy again, in life, in love. The mural became a reminder that even if paths diverge, the love you create can resonate through time and space, the woman replied, her voice a warm caress. But it needs you, Sarah. The mural still waits. It needs a new artist to finish it, and that artist, it could be you. All eyes turned to Sarah, the weight of possibility heavy on her shoulders. Each patron, frozen in the moment, could feel her internal struggle. Joe reached over, giving her hand a gentle squeeze. Maybe it's time to face what you've been running from, he murmured softly, his voice carrying a blend of encouragement and understanding. Tears stung Sarah's eyes. Fear and excitement battled inside her like an endless storm. But I don't know if I can do it alone, she whispered, heart pounding at the thought of taking such a monumental step. You won't be alone, the woman assured, her voice soothing. You'll have the stories of the past with you, the lessons of love and loss. And this community, they want to see you find your voice. Suddenly, the diner door swung open, and a rush of cold air followed. A shadowy figure stood at the threshold, water dripping from their drenched frame, a stranger, yet somehow familiar. The gasp from the patrons echoed through the space, a collective intake of breath that held everyone captive. Who are you? Sarah managed, stepping forward, eyes fixed on the newcomer whose presence felt electric. As the figure took a step closer, a sense of recognition flickered in Sarah's heart. What connection could this person possibly hold to the stories embedded in the mural? With her pulse racing, Sarah felt the storm inside brewing anew. The next chapter of her journey loomed on the horizon, captive to this moment. Would she dare to delve deeper into the tapestry her life was weaving? Would she find the courage she sought, guided by a stranger with a forgotten piece of the story? The stranger stepped further into the light, and Sarah's breath caught again. It was uncanny. The features were familiar, but faded like an old photograph left in the sun too long. A deep sense of yearning washed over her. Sarah, the name rolled off the stranger's lips like a whisper from the past. Her eyes widened in recognition. It was Alex. The boy she once knew, the boy who had sketched on the diner napkins with her, dreams bubbling over in youthful laughter. How it's been, Sarah stammered. The world around them faded, the noise of the diner shrinking into the background. All that mattered was the connection that crackled like electricity, pulling them back to the days when they were inseparable. I know. He smiled, water still dripping from his hair, but his eyes sparkled. Too long. I've been away. There was a weight in his voice, a heaviness that hinted at stories begging to be told. The elderly woman watched silently, a knowing smile playing on her lips, as if she could see the threads of fate weaving together again. Patrons shifted in their seats, embracing the unspoken tension as they waited for the history to unfold. Why now? Sarah asked, her voice barely a whisper. Why come back now? Alex took a deep breath. I heard about the mural. I needed to see you again. To find out how we left things unfinished, like the mural itself. The rain battered the windows harder, echoing the thumping of Sarah's heart. Closure had danced just beyond her reach for years. Was this something more than a chance meeting? Was it destiny? I thought I'd lost you forever, she replied, shaking her head as memories swirled around them. The two of them were practically kids then, full of promises and untested dreams. Would this encounter be their chance to reclaim all they had left behind? He stepped closer, the warmth of his presence pulling her in. We both know life took us in different directions. But I've been working on my art again. The mural, I think it's calling me back home. Home. The word wrapped around them like a familiar blanket. A place where their shared dreams could reignite. But there's so much that happened, Alex. How do we even begin to talk about all those lost moments? Her voice trembled, reflecting not only fear but also hope. We start by painting again, he said, his eyes locked onto hers with an intensity that made her breath hitch. We finish what we started. Together. A thrill shot through Sarah. Was this really happening? A chance to reclaim not just the mural but the bond they had forged years ago. The thought brought tears to her eyes. With the storm raging outside, the diner felt like an island, a bubble of possibilities. But what if we fail again? Sarah whispered, vulnerability cracking through the armor she had built over the years. We won tea. This time, we face everything together, he promised, the sincerity of his words enveloping her in warmth. As she stood there, a million questions raced through her mind. Would she have the courage to leap forward, to face the shadows of the past? Would the mural reflect not just their shared art, but a new story of healing, love, and vibrant redemptions? The diner's patrons watched, their eyes filled with a mix of hope and anticipation. This moment felt monumental, a change in the tide of Sarah's life. And as she reached for Alex's hand, she realized that perhaps, just perhaps, she wasn't alone anymore. Maybe this time was different. A sudden crash of thunder snapped her back to reality, and she glanced out the window. The storm raged with no sign of stopping, just like the turmoil within her. But it also felt like a cleansing, a chance to wash away old fears and embrace something entirely new. "Will you help me finish the mural, and maybe us?" Sarah asked, her heart racing as she took a step closer to Alex. His smile widened, a beacon of promise, as he nodded. Before Sarah could respond, the diner door flung open once more. Cold air rushed in, battling the warmth of their moment. A new figure emerged, this time with a familiar framed picture clutched in their hands, dripping with rain like a distinctly etched memory ready to surface. "Sarah, you need to see this." The urgency in the figure's voice cut through the moment, drawing everyone's attention away from the rekindling connection. The room buzzed with renewed curiosity. What could this new visitor reveal, and how would it change everything Sarah thought she had figured out? The newcomer stepped into the diner, eyes wide and breathless. It was Jamie, her old friend from high school, holding a picture. Rainwater dripped from her dark hair, pooling at her feet as she caught her breath. Sarah felt a mix of excitement and confusion. "What's going on?" Sarah asked, her heart racing with curiosity. Jamie held the framed picture closer. "You have to see this. It's important." She looked at Alex, the recognition flickering in her eyes. "You too, Alex." The diner patrons leaned in, drawn closer by the mystery unfolding before them. Sarah stepped away from Alex, the moment interrupted. She took the picture, peering at the glossy surface. It was an old photo of their mural, but there was something unsettling about it. A shadowy figure loomed in the background, partially obscured, yet unmistakably there. "What is this?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling slightly. She could feel the weight of the room's attention, all eyes focused on her. "It was posted online by someone in the neighborhood," Jamie said, her voice shaking with urgency. "They say it's haunted, but the description made me think of you. You and Alex used to talk about this mural for hours, remember?" The memories flooded back. Late nights filled with laughter and dreams under the dim lights of the diner, the soft whisper of paint against the canvas. But this was new territory. "What do you mean haunted?" Sarah's heart raced. "Wasn't the mural supposed to symbolize hope?" Jamie nodded, glancing around as if someone might overhear. "People claim to see strange things near it. They say it tells stories if you listen close enough, stories of people who left things unfinished." Alex stepped up, concern etched on his face. "But we were going to finish it. We were going to pour everything into it, the good, the bad. It was going to be pure." But what if Sarah hesitated, the weight of their past pressing down on her again? What if it's holding on to something we can't see? Maybe we shouldn't mess with it. The storm outside raged on, thunder rumbling like an ominous warning. The old woman, who had been watching with observant eyes, said softly, "Sometimes the past holds us captive in ways we don't realize. But confronting it can set you free." Sarah looked at Alex, his expression a blend of determination and concern. "Do you think it's worth investigating? What if that shadow is something we need to face?" "I do." His response came immediately, filled with conviction. "If we can channel whatever's trapped there, maybe we can finally finish our story. Together." Heat surged in Sarah's chest. This felt like more than just art. This was them, grappling with what was left unsaid, with all the lost moments and unrealized dreams. Could they confront something darker than what they had imagined? Jamie shifted anxiously. "If it's haunted, we should be careful. I mean, what if it tries to stop us?" The thought sent a shiver down Sarah's spine. What if the past wasn't just a series of memories but a living, breathing entity that had witnessed their struggles? "Should we go now?" Alex asked, looking between the two women. "I don't want to wait." Sarah's heart pounded. The reality hit her like a wave. They were on the brink of something profound, an opportunity for a fresh start, or the risk of rekindling old demons. "Let us go," Sarah said, steeling her resolve. "We need to face whatever's waiting for us." As they stood, ready to step out into the storm, the atmosphere electrified. The unknown awaited them, trepidation mingling with an undeniable pull toward the mural, their unfinished masterpiece. But as they reached for the door, the elderly woman called out, her voice heavy with warning. Be mindful of what you uncover. Some shadows are best left in the past. With those words hanging in the air, they pushed through the diner door, the storm enveloping them in its chaotic embrace. What secrets lay hidden within the mural, waiting for them to uncover? And would they be prepared for the truths that bound their lives together? The wind whipped through the streets, pulling Sarah, Jamie, and Alex further into the night. Rain poured down in sheets, each droplet pounding against the pavement like a hurried heartbeat. They fought against the elements, determination pushing them forward. The diner they just left felt like a world away as they navigated the slick asphalt. "Are you sure about this?" Jamie shouted over the wind, glancing back at Sarah and Alex. Fear flickered across her face, a moment of doubt creeping in as they approached their old mural. Its colors faded under the dim streetlights, but the haunting beauty still drew them in, like moths to a flame. "I have to know," Sarah replied, her voice steady even as her heart rumbled louder than the thunder above. Memories swirled in her mind, their laughter, late-night plans, and the promise of something greater. But those memories also carried shadows, whispers of things left unfinished, dreams that danced just out of reach. As they reached the mural, the air shifted. Sarah felt a chill run through her, an invisible weight settling over them. The painted figures seemed to come alive in the flickering light, the colors swirling with a life of their own. "What are we even looking for?" Jamie asked, her tone wavering. "How do we know if there is something there?" "Maybe we just need to listen," Alex suggested, tilting his chin slightly, a hint of inspiration sparking in his eyes. He stepped closer, the glow of the streetlight reflecting off his determined face. "We've always talked about the stories embedded in every stroke. Tonight we see if they reveal themselves." They huddled around the mural, rain cascading down, blending the colors as if they were melting into one another. The storm raged, but here stood a moment of quiet. Sarah pressed her palm against the cool surface, feeling the paint, the stories that echoed from years of forgotten dreams. "What do you want us to know?" she whispered. "What have we missed?" Silence enveloped them, except for the persistent drum of the rain. Then, something shifted in the backdrop of colors. Was it a trick of the light? Or had a shadow flickered there, one that the rain couldn't wash away? "Did you see that?" Jamie gasped, fingers tightening on the frame of the picture she still held. The photo caught the storm's reflections, warping the figures in unexpected ways. "There is something in the mural. I swear I saw it move." Drawing in a deep breath, Alex nodded. "Maybe we need to remember. We need to talk about what we left behind." The words hung in the air, pregnant with emotion, revealing layers they had avoided. But the moment hung heavy, almost tangible. As they shared their memories, their unfinished business surfaced. Past arguments, hidden crushes, dreams dashed by time. Thunder rolled overhead, a reminder of the storm that set an urgency in their hearts. "Let us chant it together," Sarah suggested suddenly, surprising even herself. Something about the night felt sacred, and she needed them to be united in this moment. "The stories we made, it's time to claim them. For us." As they repeated the words, echoes of their past filled the air around them. The mural pulsed, colors brightening against the storm's gray backdrop. The weight in Sarah's chest lightened slightly as if the mural responded to the sincerity of their voices, revealing flickers of the lives painted there. But then, amidst their shared passion, a sudden gust of wind swept through, extinguishing the glimmer of hope. A deafening crash of thunder followed, and the shadow that had first flickered was now outlined tall, dark, menacing. It loomed nearer, as if responding to their call. "What have we summoned?" Jamie screamed, taking a step back, eyes wide with terror. Sarah's heart raced as she faced the unknown. "We need to finish this," she said fiercely, determination flooding her voice once more. "Whatever it is, we face it together." In that moment, with the storm raging, they prepared for a confrontation that felt bigger than any of them. What truths were this shadow ready to reveal? And could they survive the memories it brought to life? As they stood, bracing for what lay ahead, a chilling laugh echoed from the depths of the mural. Could they handle the revelation that awaited them? Or would the shadow tie them to the past forever? The laughter echoed, deep and haunting, swirling around them like the wind. Sarah's heartbeat quickened, pounding in sync with the rhythm of rain against the pavement. She felt a primal urge to run, yet an invisible force anchored her in place. Fear rode the air, thick and electric. "What do we do?" Jamie's voice trembled. She clutched the photo frame tighter, as if it could shield her from what loomed ahead. "We face it," Alex repeated, his face set into a determined mask, though his eyes betrayed that he felt the weight of darkness creeping near. Together. The shadow shifted, darkening the mural's vibrant colors. It stretched and writhed like smoke, reshaping itself into something unrecognizable. The figures depicted in the mural, once a scene of joy and childhood memories, seemed to twist into expressions of pain and despair. Their painted mouths appeared to open in silent screams, urging the three friends to confront whatever had come alive from their past. Sarah resisted the urge to step back. "What are you?" she called out, her voice wavering but strong. "Why are you here?" In response, the shadow swelled, coalescing into a vague shape that finally settled before them. A face began to take form, disjointed and hard to understand, but there was something familiar about the eyes, piercing yet familiar, reflecting a longing that cut through the gloom. It's us," Alex whispered, realization dawning upon him. "These shadows, they are pieces of what we've left behind. The regrets. The anger. The love we didn't express." The shadow exploded into translucent images, shards of memories flickering in and out of focus. They saw themselves, their laughter under the summer sky, the fallouts that left them hollow, the dreams whispered under night stars, and the promises they failed to keep. Each moment tangled with sorrow and joy danced before their eyes, compelling them to confront the raw and unrefined tapestry of their intertwined lives. "Why did we leave it all behind?" Jamie murmured softly, shaking her head as if to dispel the vivid apparitions. Tears brimmed in her eyes, and in that moment, raw vulnerability washed over her, resonating with the pain they all felt. "Because we thought we had to hide," Sarah replied, the words flowing out like a confession. "Because we believed moving on meant forgetting." "It doesn't," Alex asserted, stepping closer. "We can't move forward without embracing our past. It's part of us." He reached out, his fingers brushing against the edge of the shadows. "Stand with me." A flicker of hesitation rippled through Sarah and Jamie, yet they found themselves inching forward, hand in hand, forming a circle around Alex. In that instant, the storm's roar softened, giving way to stillness that was almost spiritual, inviting them into an understanding deeper than fear. As they united, a warmth enveloped them, familiar and comforting, pushing back against the darkness. The blend of emotions surged anew, moving through them with a sense of urgency, a need to reconcile their past with their present. They began to speak, voices overlapping in a symphony of confessions and hopes, the mischances, the words unspoken, the hearts kept in chains. The shadow twitched, pulsing with their revelations, absorbing their truth. But then, as if repelled by the sincerity of their words, the face within the shadow contorted with rage. "You think you can change your fate?" it hissed, an echo of their deepest fears spilling forth. "You are bound to this moment forever." "The only fate we're bound to is the one we choose for ourselves," Sarah shouted, her voice rising above the chaos. "We can release the past." With those words, the mural blazed with light, colors colliding, sweeping away the shadows inch by inch. The darkness trembled at the edges, imploding as if threatened by their resolve. But just as hope began to bloom, a blinding flash of light erupted, sending them sprawling backward. The world dimmed, and with it came a revelation, a voice echoing through the storm, powerful and unyielding. "Tonight, you will either confront the truth, or be consumed by it forever." As the storm raged back to life, uproarious winds threatening to swallow them whole, Sarah, Jamie, and Alex scrambled to their feet. They stood together, fear pooling in their stomachs but daring to hope. What lay ahead promised growth, but it also brought uncertainty. Would they find closure, or were they about to unravel the very fabric of their friendship? With the threat of the unknown closing in, they braced themselves. The night was far from over. What deeper truths awaited them within the shadows? Would they find the strength to face the very darkness that had haunted them for years? The wind shrieked as it raced through the streets, a wild beast unleashed by the storm as fury. Rain lashed against them, drenching their clothes, but they remained huddled together, hearts pounding as their eyes strained against the unsettling shadows that flickered in the corners of their vision. "Do you see it?" Jamie whispered, her voice barely audible over the cacophony. Alex and Sarah nodded, swallowed by trepidation. "What do we do now?" Sarah's voice trembled, but deep inside, a new resolve was awakening. They had come this far, and she wasn't ready to back down. Alex took a deep breath, grounding himself. "We need to confront whatever that is," he said, gesturing toward the shape that loomed ahead. It writhed and pulsed, a dark cloud that seemed to breathe. Tension hung in the air like a taut string. "Let us not forget why we came here," Jamie urged, summoning courage. "We came to heal, to understand." Together, Sarah echoed. The power of their collective determination steadied them like an anchor. They shuffled forward, steps tentative yet full of purpose. "Tell us what you want," Alex declared, his voice steady despite the thunderstorm raging around them. "We're not hiding anymore." The shadow flickered violently as if caught in turmoil. Then, with a jolt, it unveiled visions. Images from their past spiraled out, each one more vivid than the last, laughter shared and then silenced, dreams born and then swallowed by doubt, love left unspoken, looming like a ghost they'd all tried to forget. "Why are you showing us this?" Jamie cried, reaching for Sarah's hand. The coldness of regret gripped her heart. It felt both aching and familiar. "Because you have buried it," the shadow growled, its voice a chilling whisper that reverberated in their minds. "You cannot erase what you are afraid to face." The words struck them like a blow. In an instant, fear blossomed into clarity. They had buried their past, hoping it would diminish with time, but too much had been left unsaid. Too many emotions locked away. "Then let us unearth it," Sarah shouted, her voice fierce. "Let us face every piece of it together." As if she triggered a reaction, the air thickened. Memories erupted all at once, flashes of goodbye hugs, words exchanged during long nights, arguments that still echoed in their hearts. The trio stood, trembling, enveloped in it all. "It's not too late." Jamie's eyes widened, realization dawning. "We can still change our story. We're not just shadows anymore, we are the light too." "Yes," Alex said fervently as colors began to swirl in the air, brightening the once dreary environment around them. "Our past does not define our future. We can choose how to use it." The shadow thrashed violently as they spoke, growing desperate as the memories twisted from painful to cathartic. "Stop!" it howled, echoing their fears in a distorted scream. "You will never move beyond this. You are forever chained." "No! We break those chains!" Sarah yelled, and the air around them crackled with energy. They began to step forward, drawing on the collective strength of their bond to confront the essence of their regret, each step lighting the path behind them. As light spilled from their resolve, the shadow lurched and shrank, swallowed by a wave of warmth that radiated from the depths of their beings, stealing its power. They were not alone, not even in their deepest fears. But just as they felt they could conquer it, a familiar sorrow sparked within the darkness, a reminder of lost hope. Anxiety sprang anew within them. Had they truly faced enough of the past? The energy swirling around them swirled and began to dissipate, revealing a door just behind the shadow. Its handle glimmered as if inviting them to open it. An air of foreboding clung to it, sealing away truths they weren't yet ready to explore. With breaths held, they exchanged glances. This was more than a door. This was a choice, a gateway into the unknown. Would they step through and confront what lay ahead, potentially unearthing buried emotions they weren't prepared for? "Are we ready?" Jamie asked, her voice trembling with anticipation. No one answered, but the spark in their eyes told the truth: they had come too far to retreat now. As they placed their hands on the doorknob, the distance between them and the shadows of their past began to close. What awaited on the other side? Would it be redemption, or would they find themselves consumed once more by the things they wished to forget? The moment the door creaked open, darkness poured forth, and their hearts raced. They braced themselves, ready to confront whatever emerged. Would they finally find the freedom they sought, or were they about to unleash a storm far greater than they ever imagined? As the door swung open, an ominous wave of cold rushed out, enveloping them in chills that washed over their skin. The shadow recoiled, twisting in agitation as if threatened by the doorway to their rawest truths. Sarah, Alex, and Jamie stepped inside, an unspoken alliance pulling them forward. The cavern beyond was dimly lit, every corner harboring whispers of things long buried. Sarah squinted, attempting to discern the shapes that flickered throughout a wraith-like collection of past emotions, unfulfilled dreams, and memories yearning to be seen. "Do you feel it?" Jamie murmured, her voice shaking. "It's heavy." "It's our past," Alex responded, his tone fierce but steady. "But we're not just here to observe, we're here to confront it." As they ventured deeper, the walls shimmered with images, times of celebration and sorrow, moments of laughter now shadowed by regrets. Each scenario unfolded before them like a movie reel, leading them into sprawling memories of lost connections and untold stories. "Look!" Sarah gasped, pointing to a scene where she and Alex sat together, hiding behind the diner's counter, giggling as they scribbled dreams on napkins. There they were, young, full of hope, sketching out infinite possibilities for the future. Suspended in time, the shadows of their younger selves laughed, the innocence palpable. Yet, just beyond that joy was the vision of a bridge severed, a choice to part ways, like ink disappearing off the page. The scene morphed, Alex's face hidden by doubt as Sarah clutched a paintbrush, the fear of loss evident. It was a memory tied by threads of uncertainty. "We can't keep running from this," Sarah said, feeling the heat of anger rise. "This is what we're meant to understand." "Right," Alex added, the determination in his voice echoing against the cavern walls. "This is our chance to rewrite the ending." With that shared conviction, they pressed further into this realm that echoed their past. Another scene revealed itself, Jamie, alone, wanting affection never voiced, with the fear of rejection coursing through her. "Why didn't I say anything?" she whispered, anguish coloring her eyes. "I thought I'd lose everything." "Jamie, you did the best you could with what you knew," Sarah said softly, sadness igniting. "We can change that now." "I want to use my voice," Jamie admitted, glancing at the shadows of her former self flickering in the distance. "What if I can bring those feelings to light?" Encouraged by that spark, they formed a circle, linking hands tightly. "We summon our courage," Alex spoke, his heart racing. "Speak your truth, throw it into the light." The cavern shuddered as they spoke their hopes aloud, one by one, with each confession cutting deeper into the sphere of their regrets. "I felt ashamed," Jamie said, tears spilling forth, "but I'm ready to embrace who I am." "I feared failure, so I held back," Sarah admitted, feeling lighter as clarity folded around her heart, "but no more." "Love shouldn't be repressed," Alex declared, his voice ringing, possessed with fierce resolution. "Let us reveal every piece." As they shared the hopes that had long since faded and dreams unrealized, the shadows began to shimmer and twist until they unraveled, swirling around them in an ecstatic dance of color and emotion. "Together!" they shouted, and the cavern erupted with radiant light, banishing darkness to its forgotten corners. The shadow that had consumed them wavered on the edges, its power dissipating under the onslaught of their collective truths. With each word spoken, it fractured. The wall behind the shadow crackled with life. The door closed behind it, sealing away doubts that had once clawed at their hearts. "Can you see that light?" Sarah whispered, breathless with wonder. The walls glimmered with possibilities, each hue reflecting love, joy, acceptance. "I do," Jamie replied, tears of relief spilling across her cheeks. "I feel it," Alex nodded, a radiant smile breaking through. "It's our mural. It's us reborn." Together, they stepped toward the flickering canvas, glasses now filled with brilliance as the mural began to form. Colors swirling vividly, their stories intertwining into something new. With every brush stroke they shared on that sacred mural, they embraced the truth that family, friendship, love, and hope were all meant to be forged in the storms they had endured. "I can't believe we did it," Jamie sighed, glancing back to where the shadow had been. "We are free. Free to choose our own paths," Sarah echoed, her heart bursting with gratitude. "And to paint a future together," Alex added, a playful twinkle in his eye. As the mural glowed, they stepped back, and the realization struck: they weren't just artists, they had become architects of their own fate. The past no longer haunted them, it flowed through them, transforming into a legacy of love, dreams, and courage, a beautiful tapestry that invited others to join. They turned back toward the door, ready to leave this place of healing. Those shadows of the past would always linger, they understood. They now held the light to illuminate their way. As they stepped into the embrace of the storm, the rain washed away their fears. They discovered that the love shared within those diner walls would forever connect them, bridging every past moment to a hopeful future. And with the golden light of dawn breaking through the storm clouds, they stepped forward, embracing the freedom they had always sought. Now it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this amazing ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Only true fans understand the impact of your support.